This is The Quiet End, and tonight I'll tell you a story titled Symbiosis. Let's begin. Commander Elena Vega's sleek spacecraft touched down, the Horizon's hull bearing scars from a year in the void. The room erupted in a hazy mixture of relief and celebration as her team swarmed around her, their faces beaming with pride. But to Elena, their cheers felt muted, a distant echo instead of a grounding embrace. She smiled faintly, responding only when necessary, her mind tangled in an odd dissonance. As her teammates peppered her with questions about the mission, she felt something twisting just beneath her ribs, a sensation that neither the endless expanse of space nor its solitude had prepared her for. Hours later, under harsh fluorescent lights in the facility's pristine medical bay, physicians examined her with the practiced detachment she had always resented. They noted her elevated cellular regeneration with an arched brow and the whispered remarks bouncing off the sterile white walls. When Elena demanded answers, it was dismissed. Stress, they claimed, nothing more. Her body was simply recovering from prolonged exposure to the extremities of space. But she knew better. She could feel it, something deeper, something insidious slithering within her veins. A shadow of mistrust grew, planted by the unfamiliar whispers within her mind, their tone neither dismissive nor comforting. The whispers called her name, each syllable unraveling threads of her rationality. Elena left that room with an aching chest and a head full of echoing voices. The team celebrated her survival that evening, but when she looked in the mirror, her reflection seemed to twitch in ways she never had. For a moment, she swore she saw her pupils shift, splitting like fractured obsidian. Her breath hitched. The sensation she'd felt earlier returned, stronger now. Clawing, spreading, her mind whispered back to the voices, and for the first time they answered. The first sign came in the shower. As the hot water streamed down her body, Elena caught a shimmer on her forearm. At first glance it looked like nothing, a trick of the light. But when she leaned in, her skin glistened like the surface of an oil slick, swirling with faint, iridescent colors that shifted when she moved. Her heart sank, denial flaring as she scrubbed at it, but the patterns remained, embedded in her flesh. She wrapped her arm in a towel and stepped out, her breath shallow, her thoughts racing. That night, sleep offered no reprieve. She dreamed of alien vistas, skies the color of bruises, rivers of mercury winding through forests of towering, bioluminescent fungi. The air in these dreams buzzed with sounds she couldn't describe, and towering silhouettes loomed in the distance, their forms writhing as though they were never meant to be still. A language clawed at her ears, guttural and melodic all at once, its meaning slipping just beyond her grasp. She woke in a cold sweat, gasping, her mind ringing with fragments of words she couldn't remember. The whispers grew bolder. They no longer waited for the silence of night, but coiled around her thoughts during the day, persistent and insistent. The language sounded alien, incomprehensible, yet something about it felt achingly familiar, as if her bones recognized it, even if her brain did not. She found herself listening, leaning into the murmur, yearning for understanding. Each word wrapped itself around her like a vine tightening against stone. Her body betrayed her further. Her muscles pulsed with a dull ache that seemed to sync with her heartbeat, but deeper, harsher, as though an entirely different rhythm had taken root. Elena avoided close quarters with her team, refusing their concern with forced smiles and quick exits. Paranoia took hold, the fear that they would see the shimmer on her skin or the way her pupils almost seemed to flicker at the edges of her reflection in glass surfaces. Despite her efforts, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. Not by the team, but something older, larger, omnipresent. And deep within herself, she couldn't decide what was worse, being consumed by this growing sense of something alien or welcoming it. Elena woke with a sharp jolt, her breath caught in her throat as her arm prickled with unnatural sensations. The swelling she'd dismissed a day ago wasn't just localized anymore. Her skin had ruptured overnight. Fibrous tendrils, translucent and organic, had emerged, pulsating faintly as if they were breathing. She froze, staring at them as they writhed independently, their shimmering surfaces reflecting the faint glow of her bedroom light. Panic overtook her. She locked the door and hurriedly searched her quarters for anything. anything, invasive enough to sever what shouldn't have existed. Her trembling hand landed on a knife from her emergency pack, and without hesitation, she brought it down on one of the tendrils. The second the blade touched the fibrous strand, agony exploded across her body. It was as if every nerve in her arm had been fused with the tendrils themselves. She screamed, falling to her knees, the knife clattering to the floor as her vision blurred from the pain. The tendrils recoiled violently, retreating under her skin as though they were sentient, snarling against the intrusive blade. Elena gasped, tears streaming down her face as she realized the truth. This thing wasn't just clinging to her body, it was a part of her now. Her arm throbbed in rhythm with her heartbeat, only it wasn't her rhythm anymore. The whispers surged in full force, no longer distant murmurs but cryptic fragments slicing through her mind. The integration is underway. Adaptation is survival. The phrases clawed at her understanding, heavy with meaning she wasn't sure she wanted to know. She staggered back, colliding with the wall, clutching her mutated arm. For a fleeting moment, her vision distorted, colors bled and shifted unnaturally, and her mind felt like it was stretching. Not breaking, but bending. There was no denying it anymore. Whatever had taken root inside her wasn't just foreign, it was altering her perception, merging with her thoughts. And as the whispers intensified, she found herself teetering between terror and an unsettling, growing curiosity. Elena's trembling fingers danced over the console. The room was dark, illuminated only by the cold blue glow of the screen, as she sifted through Horizon's mission logs, searching for something, anything, that could explain the thing inside her. Footage of her spacewalk played before her eyes, each moment heavy with unease. Then, she saw it. As she floated outside Horizon, tethered only by a thin cord, a glimmer appeared near her lower arm in the video, small, almost unnoticeable. An alien spore, drifting lazily in the vacuum, latched onto the fabric of her suit. It lingered for mere seconds before burrowing into the material with eerie precision, vanishing from sight. No alarms had been triggered. No protocol had accounted for such a subtle intrusion. Elena froze, her breath faltering. This was the point of infection, the moment the alien had claimed her. Her knees buckled as realization gripped her. It wasn't feeding off her like a parasite. It was changing her. Symbiotic. The word tasted bitter in her mind, yet the whispers surged with clarity, their voices transforming into fully formed thoughts. The host will survive. Adaptation ensures the collective's survival. The phrases weren't spoken, they were embedded in her like second-hand memories planted in her brain. Elena gripped the console. Her muscles twitched, warmth pooling beneath her fingertips as the pulsating rhythm in her arm spread beyond her flesh. She felt the organism working within her, rewriting her cells, restructuring her mind, molding her body to harmonize with Earth's environment. Every fragment of her biology was adapting, preparing her for something she couldn't fathom. But it was more than physical. Her thoughts cracked, her humanity eroding with each moment the alien presence expanded. The whispers, now resonating louder than her own inner voice, began filling the gaps in her logic, replacing curiosity with quiet compliance. The duality of Elena's identity blurred, her panic slowly cocooned by a creeping sense of inevitability, as if the thing inside her wasn't a threat, but a solution. And for the first time, she felt herself wanting to listen. Elena woke to the sensation of her legs stretched taut, as though her very bones were rearranging beneath her skin. She bolted upright, gasping, and looked down at herself. Her limbs had elongated, subtly at first, but undeniably alien now. Her fingers ended in fine, translucent tips, their texture soft yet unnervingly firm. The shimmering iridescence spread across her body in intricate, spiraling patterns like organic armor. Her chest tightened as she staggered to the mirror, gripping the edge of the sink for stability. Her reflection stared back at her, but it wasn't her. The curve of her spine was sharp now, stretching just enough to seem unnatural. Even her face didn't feel hers anymore. The skin around her jaw had tightened, and her pupils glittered like fractured stars. Panic clawed at her throat, her human mind reeling, desperately seeking some semblance of control. But she wasn't alone in her thoughts anymore. The alien voice within her was stronger now. It no longer whispered from the depths. It spoke with clarity, gentle and insidious. Resist, and you fracture. embrace, and you thrive. Its soothing tone clashed violently with her terror, threading into every instinct she tried to grasp. It didn't argue or plead. It simply existed, calm and unwavering, while her own psyche frayed at the edges. And then the slips began. When she looked at the clock, hours had passed with no memory to account for them. She woke up in rooms she didn't recognize, her hands stained with oily black resin that matched the patterns on her skin. Equipment had been moved, rearranged, calibrated. Somewhere deep down she knew it wasn't her doing. All the signs pointed to the presence within her mind. Images flickered before her without warning. Alien structures, perfect in their geometric chaos, burned behind her eyelids. Her muscles felt stronger, more purposeful, but her humanity was splintering beneath the weight of what she was becoming. Rationality crumbled, torn between her human self clawing for survival and the alien consciousness coaxing her toward acceptance. She didn't know which part of her moved the hand to the console that night, or which part whispered, "Let me show you what you are meant to be." Elena sat in the silence of her quarters, her breathing shallow as revelation sank into her trembling frame. She wasn't human anymore, not fully. The mirror, her eternal witness, reflected a being caught between light and shadow, elongated joints, muscles that rippled with an unfamiliar strength, and skin adorned with alien patterns too intricate to belong to Earth. Her senses sharpened in ways she couldn't fathom. She could hear the faint hum of electricity coursing through the walls, smell the sterile air tinged with metallic notes, feel the vibrations in the floor as though her body was part of its very structure. And then the alien spoke, not as a whisper, but as an undeniable truth that reverberated inside her skull. You are a scout, a bridge. Adaptation is survival. We are eternal. The words carried weight, ancient and relentless, their implications suffocating. It told her the truth she hadn't dared imagine. It wasn't random. The spore had chosen her, marked her as the host to usher its kind into this unfamiliar world. Despair warred with alien serenity. The organism's promises rang hollow yet seductive. Perfection, eternity. It dangled immortality before her, gilded with the caveat that her humanity, her identity, her memories, everything that made her Elena Vega, would dissolve into the collective. She didn't know who she would become or if she would even persist as a consciousness, but the alien assured her the vessel will thrive. She tried to resist, clawing at the remnants of herself. Her mind screamed against the fracture spreading within, against the entity's calm guidance weaving through her thoughts like vines over ruins. But she could feel her will crumbling, disintegrating, as the alien presence smothered her inner voice with its promises. Her memories flickered, distorted by the alien's touch. Moments from her childhood twisted like reflections in a fractured mirror, melting away as if they never belonged to her. Elena stumbled back, clutching her head, tears spilling down her cheek. Fight it, she thought. Fight before there's nothing left. But as the alien reached deeper, showing her a vision of what she could become, her strength faltered. The line between resistance and acceptance blurred, and she realized she was losing more with every passing second. Elena no longer remembered waking, no longer felt the passage of time. She stood amid scattered remnants of what had once been her life, fragments of clothes, furniture, and memories that now belonged to someone else, someone absent. The room was bathed in an eerie glow emanating from her transformed skin, veins of bioluminescent light tracing the sinewy alien structures her body had become. Her reflection in the mirror wasn't just unrecognizable, it was terrifyingly beautiful, an amalgam of lithe, alien elegance wrapped in horrors she once feared. She reached forward, if it could still be called reaching. Her arms stretched effortlessly, longer, lighter, shimmering with swirling patterns, and her form rippled with the kind of grace that defied human limitations. The whispers, those haunting voices that had plagued her, were gone now, replaced by immense calm. It wasn't silence, though. The alien mind now filled every crevice of her being, drowning what little remained of Elena Vega beneath its vast and unrelenting presence. For a moment, a fleeting, desperate moment, her humanity surged in one last futile cry. She could feel it clawing deep within her, screaming silently into the void, begging for escape, a return to the woman she had been. But there was nothing left to reclaim. This is survival. The alien's thought coursed through her, serene and final. Elena, the human being, crumbled, her consciousness fading like smoke in the wind. Her gaze lifted, her alien eyes locking onto the sky. She could feel them, more spores drifting down, carried by unseen currents. They were near. Purpose swelled within her, overwhelming and cold. She was no longer Elena Vega. She was something greater, something eternal. And as her alien body pulsed with a rhythm not her own, what remained of her humanity, a silent, broken echo, murmured against the tide, unheard and forever lost. So tell me, dear listener, if the spores came drifting down to you, would you resist or simply let them rewrite your tale? Subscribe for more chilling tales and hit the bell to stay in the dark. See you at the next quiet end.